In this video we are going to talk about top 10 scary places in the world. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. Number 10. Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital, Gyeonggi, South Korea. The story of this abandoned psychiatric hospital reads like the plot of a horror film, complete with gore and suspense. In accordance with local legend, patients began mysteriously dying at the hospital about 10 years ago, eventually forcing the institution's closure. There are only the most disturbing remnants of its former life left, such as rusted wire fences and disintegrating examination chairs, in this now abandoned and squalid structure in the middle of nowhere. As one of South Korea's 3 major haunted sites, the hospital is well known. The other 2 are the Youngdeok haunted house, which is said to be haunted by ghosts from the Korean War, and the Neulbom Garden, which was formerly a restaurant where it is said that you can still hear the sound of dishes being washed in the kitchen, among other things. Number 9. Sedlec Ossuary, Czech Republic. The Sedlec Ossuary is a small Roman Catholic chapel in the Czech town of Sedlec. It was built in the year 2000. Aside from that, it contains the skeletal remains of approximately 40,000 human beings, which have been artistically arranged throughout the building's interior. The chandelier in the center of the room, as well as the coat of arms of the Schwarzenbergs, the most blue-blooded of Bohemian aristocrats, on the left, are the most notable pieces made of human bones. It's difficult not to let your imagination run wild when thinking about the kind of sick mind that could come up with things like a chandelier made entirely of human bones. However, the true motivation behind all of this was quite simple. It was simply a matter of saving space. These bones were given freely from the bodies of devout Roman Catholics from all over Europe who clamored to be buried here after the abbot of Sedlec went on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem in 1278 and returned with soil from Golgotha, the site where Jesus was allegedly crucified, sparking a worldwide clamor to be buried here. There were so many people who wanted to be buried in the soil of Golgotha that the chapel was converted into an ossuary. In the 16th century, the remains of the previously buried were dug up and rearranged, a practical, if a little unsettling, method of making the most of limited burial space in a cost-effective manner. Number 8. Akodeswa Fetish Market, Lomé, Togo. The Akodeswa Fetish Market in Lomé, Togo, which is the world's largest fetish market, is a haven for voodoo practitioners because it is the largest in the world. We're talking about talismans that are used in voodoo healing when we say fetish. Things like crocodile heads, chimpanzee hands, cobras, and bones are among the items on display. There are a lot of bones. These things, or parts of things, are sold as ingredients that are to be ground up, mixed with herbs, and then cooked over an open flame in a pan. When the mixture is dried, the black powder is applied to a cut on the patient's chest, with the hope of curing him of whatever it was that brought him there in the first place. Because of this, the market is effectively a giant pharmacy, and while there's nothing wrong with that, maintaining your composure amidst tables of desiccating, grinning cheetah and hyena heads, or unidentifiable, vaguely humanoid skulls laid out like melons at the local grocers, may prove difficult. Number 7. La Isla de los Muñecos, Chuilo Lake, Mexico. The Island of the Dolls, also known as La Isla de los Muñecos, or the Island of the Dolls, is the stunningly morbid creation of a man named Don Julian Santana, who lived as a hermit on an island for approximately 50 years before passing away in 2001. The dolls he collected during his time on the island were dismembered, broken, and hung from tree branches all over the island, where they remain to this day, as if they were sacrifices to the gods. Although it appears to be cruel and disturbing, the backstory is surprisingly sweet. There are several versions of the legend, but all converge on the idea that Don Julian dedicated the dolls to the spirit of a little girl who had drowned in the canal, which is supported by historical evidence. There is disagreement over whether or not he was able to communicate with the spirit, as well as whether or not the drowned girl actually existed. Don Julian, on the other hand, simply wanted to provide some toys for his ghostly companion to enjoy. Chuilo Lake, near the canals of Xochimilco, is home to the island, which is otherwise uninhabited and located 29 kilometers away from Mexico's capital city. Number 6. Battleship Island, Nagasaki, Japan. Known as Gonjiam, which translates as Battleship Island because the island is shaped like a warship, Hashima Island, also known as Gonjiam, is a cluster of concrete ruins in the sea near Nagasaki, Japan, that spans 60,000 square meters. In the 1950s, it was a hive of activity, with thousands of coal mine workers calling it home. Since the closure of the coal mines on Hashima Island in 1974, the island has been abandoned. When it comes to deserted islands, there's always something a little sinister about them. Isolation can be a double-edged sword. Being surrounded by water can make for an excellent vacation getaway, but it can also result in being stranded with nowhere to go. A visit to Hashima Island gives the impression of the latter. The dilapidated buildings and abandoned belongings of the former coal miners give the impression that this is the most desolate island on the face of the planet. Despite the fact that Hashima was completely closed off until 2009, travelers are now permitted to visit. In 2015, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization recognized it. In the 2012 Bond film Skyfall, the island also served as the secret headquarters of Bond villain Raoul Silva's organization. Number 5. Chernobyl Amusement Park, Pripyat, Ukraine. When it comes to abandoned amusement parks, they can be creepy enough. But at Chernobyl Amusement Park, located in the ghost town of Pripyat, Ukraine, the reason for the park's abandonment makes it not only creepy, but also potentially dangerous. This amusement park was rendered useless following the 1986 nuclear disaster at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, which forced the evacuation of the entire city and forced the closure of the plant. Even though the people have long since vanished, the radiation continues to exist. Number 4. Catacombs, Paris, France. Would you be interested in descending beneath the streets of Paris and wandering through the catacombs, an airy network of ancient caves and tunnels lined with the bones of the dead? You can now do so at one of Paris' most terrifying attractions, which is home to the bones of approximately 6 million people and is located deeper underground than the metro and sewer systems. During the 18th century, the catacombs were constructed to accommodate overflowing cemeteries. Don't stray too far from the beaten path, though. In the summer of 2017, 2 teenagers became disoriented and lost in the cavernous network for 3 days. Number 3. Poveglia Island, Venice, Italy. Despite its idyllic setting, this beautiful island is haunted by its eerie past. It was once used as a quarantine zone for plague victims in the late 1700s. Later, in the 1920s, it was converted into a mental institution for the mentally ill. According to legend, the island is haunted by the spirits of patients from the psychiatric hospital on the premises. According to legend, a sadistic doctor, plagued by visions of the patients he had tortured, committed suicide by jumping from the bell tower. The building is still standing, an abandoned, rusted structure that sends chills down your spine. Although it was close to becoming a luxury hotel in 2014, negotiations fell through, and it now serves as a macabre reminder of its heinous past. It's not supposed to be visited by anyone, let alone tourists, but you might be able to persuade a boat operator in Venice to take you there anyways. Number 2. The Darvaza Crater, or the Gateway to Hell, Turkmenistan. Yes, there is a real crater deep in the Turkmenistan desert that has been engulfed in flames for the past 40 years, and it is still burning. This incredible site is officially known as the Darvaza Crater, but it is also referred to as the Gateway or the Doorway to Hell. There is no concrete evidence of what took place, which only adds to the intrigue surrounding the engulfed cavern. It is said to have formed in 1971, when Soviet geologists searching for oil discovered that they had stumbled upon a natural gas cavern while looking for oil. They set it on fire in order to prevent the spread of methane gas. Number 1. Bell Witch Cave, Tennessee, USA. Visitors to the Bell Witch Cave in Tennessee can get a taste of the spirit of Southern Gothic by visiting the eerie cave, which is said to have been the home of an evil witch who plagued the Bell family in Tennessee during the 1800s. This malevolent spirit is said to have poisoned and killed Patriarch John Bell, wreaking havoc on his family, particularly on his daughter Betsy, before taking his own life. Kate Batts, the witch, it is said, was a vengeful neighbor who sought revenge. According to Tennessee local legend, the story was immortalized in novels and on film, as well as in other media. According to legend, President Andrew Jackson paid a visit to the property but was scared away by the wolves. Supposedly, he said, "I'd rather go up against the entire British Army than spend another night with the Bell Witch." Visitors to John Bell's cabin in the cave will have the opportunity to engage in some ghost hunting activities. Who knows, maybe the witch is still hanging out in this eerie cavern. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.